Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Project Ruby, and this is more of an update episode because there have been quite a few things going on in the last few weeks since the last episode, of which when we put the fuel tank on the car, well I say a few weeks, I think it's been about a week or so, losing track of time, but basically we've got the fuel tank in, and at the end of the last episode the battery was a bit dead. That was mainly because of the result of what I'm doing at the rear of the car. I didn't actually think that keeping the battery connected was a good idea. I should have disconnected it anyway, but I forgot to disconnect it, and I had the boot open, which obviously meant that the boot light was permanently on, and then I realised why the car won't start. Dead battery because of a boot light completely on all the time. But today we've had a little bit better weather, and the weather has been utterly atrocious even for this time of the year. I just honestly, what is wrong with the weather? We've had the wettest winter and a damp spring that I can ever recall. Everybody seems to be talking about EVs and the whole world as it's depicted 2030 and all that kind of rubbish, and nobody talks about the amount of wind we get. I mean, we seem to have a storm every week where this car cover wants to blow away. It is horrendously bad to do any sort of work outside on your car, and you're fighting against the elements pretty much all the time. So I take it off to everybody else who has to fight against the elements as well. But anyway, so fuel tank's in. The sender works, which are confirmed. Fantastic, because I'll just bring you here. I don't know if you can actually see. I'll just bring you in here. Yeah, we have a reading on the gauge. It's not much fuel. It's only a sort of probably about 3.5 litres, but that will do for now. I started the car up, starts first time, no problem. However, for various different reasons, I can't actually start the car up and run it for very long on these ramps. We are going to get it off the ramps for the MOT, which will be in the next episode, I suspect, because of what I've been doing at the back. Also, I said I would show you why I took the old back box off. You want to come and see? I'm just going to pop the bonnet because I'm going to show you the front as well. Right, okay, now spoilers here. I'm going to show you what I've been doing as well as the exhaust, but first of all we'll go to the exhaust. Yeah, we have a fluted edge back box, the correct original back box for an early Mark III Fiesta. Only the early ones on an F and G, maybe a H reg, got these. After that, they were all downturned. The old exhaust has gone to Rob, and he's going to put that on the red G reg example. So he's going to get a slightly better back box than the one he's got at the moment, and anything I can do to help him out, because actually he was the one who bought this. I was hesitant in buying this. I'm not sure why, but he bought it for me. Fantastic. That's what friends are for. Yes, you can see that we've got some sort of... Unfortunately, my car wants to veer to the left. I'm not a lefty. Well, I'm not a righty. Let's stay in the middle, shall we? Unfortunately, what I've had to do is I've had to put some cable ties around the rubber. I'll just bring you in. I've just had to put some cable ties on this end just to force it this way a little bit. But as you can correctly see, I have painted this in VHT and it's come up a treat. It is a Bosal back box. Just see upside down. That's not handy. There you go. Bosal. Yes. It's beautiful, isn't it? Goes with the new fuel tank. Looks absolutely amazing in here, doesn't it? And I've got a feeling that's factory. I think this is factory seconds. Bosal boxes are really high quality, and this has never been used. The inside of this was perfectly clean until I started it up for about 5 or 6 seconds. I'm not joking. That's how short it was. I literally just started off. I know it works, because it's all a complete fuel system, and I do not expect any problems with the work I've done and carried out. I really don't. So fingers crossed. You never know, but there's no excuse now. I've done everything in my power to completely revitalise the fuel system from front to back, basically, and that's what it's been about. And it looks absolutely amazing under here. But this just finishes it off. It had to go on this car, had to buy it. £40, ridiculously. Yes, it doesn't quite fit as I would. I mean, if you look at it from this angle, it's actually cockeyed onto the left-hand side. It really isn't a brilliant fit, which is disappointing. That's 2 exhausts now that don't fit very nicely. And the middle box is the original, as far as I'm aware. The exhaust that came with the car, I don't know if that was pointing towards the left, but I'm going to see if I can adjust that a little bit more. But overall, I don't really mind, because it's a beautiful addition, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm not going to have the downturn one now, am I? You can see stains of paint, and that is because of moi. Look at her. This is what I've been doing the last couple of weeks, and I'm so glad the sun is shining, because you can see exactly the length of what I've been doing. This isn't finished, by the way, guys. This is just primer. This is just primer. You can probably just about tell that it is primer. So we've got diamond white primer. It's a bit white, isn't it? Yeah. But I'll tell you what, this has been properly smoothed out. And yeah, it's still... The problem is I couldn't quite take out the bump here where the filler was. So if I remember rightly, and I'm going to show some pictures in another episode of this. In fact, I've got a picture here of what it looked like when I ground it back. Yeah, there was a lot of pinholes and it wasn't great, but you could see exactly what you're working with. And it is just literally where my finger is, a little V, just a little V here. But the rest of it it's quite smooth. I still think you're going to see a little bit, but the main thing is that you can tell the swage line is completely intact. Thank you very much, Mr. Sun. You've come out at the right time to show people that I have made sure that is intact. This is nice and smooth. There was a blob of filler here before. Now it's all been smoothed out. I have had to take everything out, as you can see. Remove the sticker, remove the badge. I've got a better badge for it as well. And if I just bring you in here. What's been going on in here? Yeah, somebody got there before me. What I've done is I've applied a rust converter, ground it back to metal, and some zinc primer over the top. I may just top coat it, and we had a bit of minor rust around the wiper, but that's it. That is the area of disgust on this tailgate. The rest of it is completely fine. It's utterly solid. In fact, if I just lay you in, can you see that it's really clean at the bottom? I've been cleaning that out, and that's Dynax. That is Dynax. That's been Dynax and whatever wax somebody else has put in. This is a good tailgate, and I'm not losing it because of that. If, ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem in, let's say, a couple of years' time, can you just see that? It's not... There's a little undulation there. There's a little undulation there. You can tell. I didn't think it was going to be unbelievably perfect. But I tell you what, considering the DIY aspect of this, got all the sheets of it, I've had a sheet over the back window, it's been horrific. And I'm fighting against damp freaking weather all the time. It has been one heck of a task. Now, this is a primer. We've done etch primer, I've done a bit of zinc primer, we've done filler primer, then we've done a few coats of white primer. And what we've done is I've tried to blend it in. Now I think on this side you can see it a bit more obviously, but that is pretty good. That's even the white primer. You wait until the top coat goes on, it will be bled in pretty nicely. This side, I can't tell where my lines were, which is a bit concerning. I actually can't tell where my it was here. Oh yeah, it's here. I don't know if the camera can pick that up. It was here, and it's gone right across. Stop spitting at the car, Andrew. Oh, he's spitting while I'm talking. But yeah, I think it's just this little bit here. But it was never going to be perfect, but you wouldn't be able to tell. And once the top coat is on, well, we're all prepared. That has been sanded to about 1500 grit. And that is what you need to do to prepare for a top coat. It's as simple as that. I can't wait to get it on. The top coat will reveal how there is a slight lump that I cannot take out. It's just impossible. The metal is distorted a little bit, but if it's to keep the original tailgate, I'm all for it, because that's the original window. This is the original boot, and it's got to have a chance. Now I'm going to bring you over to the other side, of which I completed the job yesterday. You can see that job is still going. Oh yes, we have been busy at work, just smoothing this out. Now this is good paint. I do not intend to go around the corner. This is going to, obviously this bit down here, you can tell, you see all this is grey primer. You must use grey primer with a dark colour, please. So it's gone up to there, so that's grey primer. The rest of it is white primer. I've only done a light coating just to protect everything and make sure that filler is not exposed to any damp. But you see what I've done, I've gone over the sway lines. We had some scabs all along here, if you remember. I've smoothed it with filler, sanded it back, and it's just a light coat, and I've wet sanded this edge just to make sure it's smooth. That is ready for paint, the top coat, as per the other side. God, this is a mess, honestly. And then this side is fully in procession. I've just using the grey primer on this side. Now this side is different. Remember we had that rust bubbling coming out? I'll show you a picture of that when I ground it back. It was okay. We got there just in time. As the picture shows you, we're okay. So this is the result of doing that. So this side, I'm just going to show you. We're just getting in here, just getting grey primer on all this. I've just put a bit of filler just to smooth it out. This is the other suspect. So this was the area of loss of metal. Bit of skimmer filler, rust converter. There's nothing to worry about with that. I'm very happy. That's nice and smooth. This bit, just a little bit of loss of metal in the middle, filled it and etch primed, and then it's just had a good coat of grey. I've got to put the next coat on in a few minutes, so I'm going to end this episode in a second. But underneath the bonnet, we have an Exide battery. Yes, unfortunately I've already made this battery go flat, so let's not try that again. It's a good Exide battery, 420 ccas. What can you expect? And that's a reliable battery, better than Lion with the battery converter set. I'm really happy. It's really sunny here today, and I'm going to leave this here. That is a little update I have about the paintwork on this car. So, as you can see, doing it at home is always a little bit of a compromise. I'm finding dirt everywhere. Doing it at home is a little bit of a compromise. But if you are willing to take your time, do not rush, give yourself months, it will take as long as it takes, and doing it in warmer weather is recommended. Now hopefully next job I need to get the MOT sorted, get this car MOT, get the ticket, and then I'm straight off to the paint shop. The reason I had to put all this in primer, because I've got to basically mask up all over again for the top coats on all three pieces. The bit by the windscreen, I'm going to come to that at a later date. I want to concentrate and get all these three sorted, and I'm not so bothered about around the windscreen, but I'll make it look better. That's going to be actually, strangely, the toughest job of all three, I would say. But nevertheless, I think these are going to be tough jobs. But anyway, I'm going to leave this here. Project Ruby's in fine fettle, but as soon as I go and get that MOT ticket, I'll be so pleased. I'm going straight to the paint shop and getting some scans made of the grey and the white. It's as simple as that. Now I could, to avoid this situation, I could have taken a door off and taken it down to the paint shop, but I don't want to be doing that, quite frankly. And I want them to get a good scan of a good section of paint, so everything really, like you've seen, it's virtually seamless on the blending. It makes it easier for me. So I'm going to leave you here. The next episode hopefully will be the MOT day? I hope so, because I'm going to start it up off camera and find out for myself. I have taken plenty of photographs of this work, and before anybody asks, I didn't want to show it on camera because I had to concentrate. I'm sure you can understand that. Time consuming, boring to watch, and I need to concentrate because this is a skill that I've been learning myself through this process. And I'm going to sit you down in one episode, go through all the photographs, and I will explain exactly what I did and how I did it. And the final results for me will be a sort of exemplification of my methods of doing so. Anyway, you take care. Didn't even need any choke. That's a really good start. And I'm going to leave that here with the car fully prepped for the MOT. Take care, guys.